10 coats of paint, stained in tobacco.
Well, good afternoon to the Adults in the Room podcast live stream. I'm Victoria Taft. I am your adult in the room. Not that kind of adult. Ew. But we are talking about the big people stories that you care about, stuff that is going on in the news. I am your news Sherpa, and that's what we do here. And I have to say that I've been a little buoyed by the number of people tuning in again. We had really super highs 2 weeks ago before YouTube throttled us over showing an actual crime that occurred against Trump supporters in Portland. And ever since then, of course, our numbers have like crashed, right? And it's just so interesting. Usually you're not supposed to say stuff like that. My days in radio, you would never talk about somebody telling them that they've not tuned in or something like that. You never say stuff like that. But I'm telling you right now, this is the real life. This is going on. And so I want you to know that I am keeping it real. There you go. I'm keeping it real here today. We're talking about Epstein Thursday. I sort of cordoned off Thursdays for Epstein talk. Hey, Alex, calling an audible to you. I am asking if you would check our Twitter. We have experiencing issues with live streaming posts. If you can't find your live in X, you can manually post it by following our guide, which I tried to do the other day, and it didn't work. So if anybody has any ideas on how to do that, please, by all means, put them in the comments section. All right. Hillary Clinton had her deposition before the Epstein Oversight. Well, actually, this is the House Oversight Committee. And so that was interesting. And she issued a statement before she went on, and she basically, hey, I'm not really going to answer any of your questions. So she did that. But she also, before she did that, issued a statement. She put it out on X to indicate that I ain't saying nothing. So don't send the dogs after me, okay? I ain't saying nothing. I know nothing. See nothing. I don't know this guy. And I'm going to tell you why her saying that out loud and in writing is an abject lie. Now, maybe she's not the besties and all of that, but I will tell you something. Jeffrey Epstein personally enriched the Clinton family, all of them, to the tune of millions and millions of dollars. That is not speculation. It is not anything other than the truth. When she was the Secretary of State, she was found to have been swapping favors from the State Department because she was the Secretary of State. And she would give people extra meetings and extra goodies if they gave a spiff to the Clinton Initiative Foundation, the very foundation that Jeffrey Epstein set up for her and Bill Clinton. Yes. And that relationship between Bill Clinton and Jeffrey Epstein, as well as the relationship that must have occurred with Hillary Clinton. Why? Why? Because she had an office in the West Wing. Remember, she moved from the East Wing, where the first ladies usually were, to a West Wing office. So she literally had proximity to the meetings that Bill Clinton was having, but not all of them, if you know what I mean. Oh, that's a cigar, isn't it? My daughter, can I just give a shout out to my daughter, who gave me a Hillary Rodham presidential playset, because, of course, in 2016, it was all the rage. We wanted to make sure we had this. And then you store your dolls in here. And you have your paper dolls of Hillary in the Oval Office, because naturally, that's where she's going to end up. We have Hillary as a badass. I mean, it's all very cringeworthy, and I'm sure she regrets mightily that she ever posted that picture for Newsweek that said Madam President, or was it Time? Who cares? They were basically the same magazine. Okay, all right. So we're going to go over her statement. We're going to go over what we know about what happened. Here's what happened. And this one is just so annoying to me. I don't even know where to begin. Lauren Boebert, who should know better, was in the room. She's on the House Oversight Committee for the Republicans. And I don't know to the extent to which she was asking questions. Don't know. We'll find out later when they release the full video of this confab. But she shot a picture. Now, and I assume that no live pictures were allowed, or even still shots. Maybe there was an agreement whereby nobody cared. But nevertheless, this photograph that Benny Johnson put out stopped the proceedings. They just stopped it. Hillary did not want to answer any more questions for a few minutes, and it's already her depo's already wrapped up. That is what happens when you have amateurs running these depositions, which you'll get a little taste of when you hear some of the Les Wexner deposition. I don't know why these guys think that they can outmaneuver these people and her attorneys. Check out her attorney. I just want you to see her attorney. I can't remember her name. What's her name? Maybe can somebody put it in the comments? This is her attorney. This woman is her saving grace. If somebody knows the answer to that question, I can't remember her name offhand, but that woman is Hillary Clinton's security blanket. And she served at the State Department as Hillary Clinton's, check it, attorney, private attorney, and her chief of staff. Anything they discussed could not be pierced by anyone wanting to know what they were talking about. If, in fact, she were deposed or she was brought up on charges like maybe, oh, hey, what happened to those 30,000 emails? She helped preside over the destruction of the phones and pagers or whatever. Anything that had any information with respect to anything having to do with Benghazi at any time of Hillary's, time at the State Department. Okay? So what's her name? I'll look it up. Hillary's attorney. I bet you $20 it comes up. Okay, stand by. You and I, Hillary's, because it's going to drive me nuts. Hillary's attorney. I thought I'd be able to talk about it without remembering her name, but what the heck. There are several attorneys listed here. David Kendall, yeah. Cheryl Mills. God bless her, America. God bless America. Cheryl Mills. So here's Cheryl Mills. So Cheryl Mills, anything she said to Hillary was in the vortex, the unit, the quiet zone of attorney and client privilege. That's how she got around a bunch of stuff for Benghazi. Of course, now we found out, again, we already knew this, but now there's another story about how the Obama department or the administration had put the Trump administration, soon to be, as well as the candidate Trump, under surveillance and investigation by the FBI and DOJ right before he left office. Yeah, Obama left office. Yeah. And during this lawfare, which was conducted against Trump, which we'll tell you a little bit more about today because it has to do with all the allegations that Trump, little children, that keeps coming up. I have people I respect who tell me, well, I'm like, really? I mean, I haven't heard this. So I thought, well, I'll chase that down. Did Donald Trump really, was he really? Well, I'll tell you a little bit about that and the way it was put into the political water table. And it was all part of this. It was all part of this, what Obama and Susan Rice and all those guys did. Well, anyway, Cheryl Mills, Hillary's attorney, sit right next to her. I don't know who the other guy is. Maybe it's David Kendall, for all I know. Maybe it is. He looks like Steny Hoyer from here. What can I say? And so this is the other one, and Representative Bobart, she's copping to it. And I'm like, what? Why? Why did you do that? Because then they pause it, and then maybe she just felt like it was just a loser. And I'll tell you why she might have thought that. But I do not condone Lauren Boebert's taking the photo if it was against the rules of the road in that room with the deposition of Hillary Clinton, even though in her statement, let's go to the statement. This is funny. Here's Hillary Clinton's statement that she put out in advance of the hearing so that everybody would know, hey, you ain't getting nothing out of me. Mr. Chairman, former ranking member, members of the committee, as a former senator, I have great respect for legislative oversight, and I expect its exercise, as do the American people, to be principled and fearless in pursuit of truth and accountability. This is the woman, I'm going to put in my thoughts as I read this. I'm going to put in my thoughts because this is the woman who started the Russia collusion crap. Okay? She and John Brennan. Now, as we all know, too often congressional investigations are partisan political theater, which is an abdication of the duty and an insult to the American people. Okay. Here, I'm going to make this bigger. I'm going to take myself out. Stipulate to any of the stuff that she's saying so far. Okay, let's just be honest about that. Because she's slippery. Lying is what she does. That is her default position. And I understand as an attorney, she would do that. It doesn't make it the right thing to do. It's not a good look, but there you are. Mr. Chairman, your investigation is supposed to be assessing the federal government's handling of the investigation and the prosecution. You've held 0 public hearings, refused to allow the media to attend them, including today, despite espousing the need for transparency on dozens of occasions. Now, she halted the proceedings today to throw as my mom used to call them, wingdings, because somebody put that picture, Benny Johnson put that picture out. I have my issues with Benny. I used to work with him, but, whatever. He got it from a congresswoman. Do you ever ask, really, if you're a reporter or whatever he's doing these days? He's definitely a podcaster, and his position as a podcaster. And he's been a journalist because I've worked with him in a journalistic enterprise, and So he knows, hey, look, if you're getting a spiff from a congressman, that's a pretty good, reliable source. And hey, it's Cheryl Mills and it's Hillary Clinton. I don't blame him for using it. I just wonder, if it was against the rules, why did Boebert do it? I mean, and I think we can all agree that wasn't a smooth move. Okay. You have made little effort. She's just basically going through and saying, you guys didn't do anything. In fact, this one I didn't actually know until I read it in Hillary's statement. You recognize that James Comer did not attend the Les Wexner DEPO? And he had, I guess, very serious oral surgery to be had. But were there any other? There were staffers. And they were taking notes, and of course they took the whole thing down, and he's going to watch it. But I mean, don't you go because you have somebody asking the questions you want asked? We'll get to that, but that deposition was highly alarming to me in several respects. Back to Hillary Clinton's opening statement. The institutional failure is designed to protect one political party, one political official, blah, blah, blah. So she's castigating them, and apparently the whole January 6th committee, Hollywood extravaganza missed her notice. I spent my life advocating for women and girls, she says. Now I'm going to pause there because everyone knows that's a laughable lie. That is a laughable lie. She would love for you to believe it. There's no truth in it. Here's the woman who was in charge of the bimbo eruptions during her president's run for office when Bill Clinton's old girlfriends and victims came out of the closet from everywhere when they found out that he was actually credibly accused of rape. He was accused of requiring someone to kiss it in a meeting. I mean, he was a rake. He was a terrible person and a rake. I would say that in general, I mean, a pretty good president, as presidents go, but a horrible human being in so many respects. And she was assigned the task during the election cycle that he was running in, which was 1992, to go after the women. She also had her first case, I think it was, as a criminal defense attorney. And we have recordings of her in a deposition where she's talking about going after the victim. I mean, holy macadamia nuts. Hey, by the way, we're having a windstorm back there. So outside, can you hear that? I think it's either a military plane or, I mean, it's pretty loud, or it's the wind. It's just ongoing. So I've spent my life advocating for women and girls, worked hard to stop the terrible abuses that so many women and girls face here and around the world, including human trafficking, forced labor, sexual slavery. That is nonsense. Not a peep did she say about any of the women and children who were trafficked over the border in the last 4 years during the Biden administration. Not one word did she mention, not one. Why did they have to put those girls on birth control? Because they were all going to be raped through the gauntlet in the desert. That's why. That is why. And then they come up here for what exactly? Working at the pot farm in Camarillo for next to nothing wages, or working on the streets of Los Angeles for sex trafficking. Not a word has she said about that. Not one word. So cram it, Clowney. So here we go. Anyway, this is a tragedy. It's a scandal. It deserves vigorous investigation and oversight. She's talking about sex trafficking, which, of course, she's not said a peep about in the last 4 years of the Biden administration when he was trapped. Literally, the United States government was the biggest trafficker of child labor and child sex slavery during the Biden administration. Think about that. I'm getting a little exercised. I apologize. I usually like to have a little bit more fun with this, but I've worked with sex slavery outfits, and I have ministries and gotten myself fairly conversant on the issue. And honey, she has been a no shizzo throughout that whole thing. committee endeavoring to stop human trafficking would seek to understand what specific steps are needed. A committee that run by elected officials with a commitment to transparency would ensure the full release of all the files. She knows she doesn't want the full release of the files. That's a talking point for her. Do you know why she doesn't want all the releases of the files? Because there's a whole bunch of stuff about her husband in there. It would ensure that lawful redactions of those files protected the victims and not some powerful men and powerful elites, which of course is already happening. It's already happened and continues to happen. And every time there's any indicator of one of the victims, their attorneys, of which there are plentiful supply in this whole ridiculous, this whole thing, get to the DOJ and they complain and then they fix it. They go, sorry, mea culpa. They gave them 30 days to do over 3 million to 6 million documents. Give me a break. And the woman who bleach bit her computer has no room to talk and squirreled away 30,000 email, oversaw the destruction of the phones and all the other stuff, pagers and all that stuff. Her State Department office has no business, in fact, no moral authority whatsoever to say anything about how someone else isn't doing the right thing by victims. Please, Hillary Clinton, the bimbo eruption lady, telling us how to treat the victims. Oh, okay. I'm telling you, that is just laughable. If it weren't so sad, it'd be laughable. But that's not happening, she says. Instead, you have compelled me to testify. Of course we have. My challenge to you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, is the same challenge I put to myself throughout my long service to this nation. How to be worthy of a trust the American people have given you. Oh, Lord. I mean, this is as funny as I thought it would be. Oh, my God. Hillary Clinton issued that today. What? Oh, my gosh. You're not even seeing this, are you? Have I not added this to the... Oh, my God. I thought I had this going. I mean, this is just bad. So all of this stuff for Hillary. Here's her... This is a tragedy. It's a scandal. You're not doing anything for the victims. This woman has been the head of going after victims for her entire professional life. Why is that? Because her husband is a sexual pervert. Or he's a randy gentleman. Okay. All right. Anyway, I feel better. Who is talking? I am, sir. Rod Sylvester. Me. I am talking. You're adult in the room. Okay. So this went on, and then she walked out. Her attorneys allegedly stormed out of the hearing, the deposition today. I didn't see any storming. Ain't nobody showing me anything about a storming of Hillary Clinton out of this deposition today. So, yeah, Hillary Clinton complaining about how victims are treated. Are you serious right now? Are you kidding me? I mean, that's funny. Here we go. Hillary, this is a story about Hillary. It was held in Chappaqua, where she moved to run for office. Remember that, after her first lady-dom? And then she goes and moves to New York, because that's where everybody goes to take their carpet bag and run for Senate, because those dummies in New York will vote for you in the city. Former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton's closed-door deposition with House Oversight Committee has paused after a photo of her from inside the room was leaked. Oh, which is against the committee rules. Well, okay, so this is yet another yin and yang with Hillary. Well, I wanted it to be an open process. And I'm walking out because it's against the rules. Oh, okay. Lord. First Lady, former President Bill Clinton are participating in depositions. Billy Boys tomorrow. Now, why this is important? It is important because, unless somebody didn't bother to ask, Hillary Clinton traded on her relationship. Maybe not with Jeffrey Epstein, but, excuse me, I apologize. Here, I'll have a little drink of Celsius. She traded on the fact that she and her husband were made into millionaires by the Clinton Global Initiative and the other foundation that Jeffrey Epstein was absolutely involved in setting up. Jeffrey Epstein came to the White House when Bill Clinton was president 17 times. Hillary Clinton had an office in the West Wing. Remember now, that's just not done. And she did it anyway. She was in charge of health care reform, which was a disaster. So they have made they've made a pile of money. And you know that they traded when she was the Secretary of State. She traded favors for donations to the Clinton Global Initiative. She did. It's provable. And we'll go over that. Not today, but we'll go over that at some point. That is a fact. All right. Jordan says, I'm here just sitting in my easy chair listening to your comical rant. Thanks to What Difference Does It Make, Hillary Clinton? Thank you. I appreciate you finding the humor in that. I try. I really do try in these times. So Hillary Clinton traded on her relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, which is to say her Clinton Global Initiative. He helped Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton set up that thing so they'd have a money-making machine after she left office and he left office, after technically he left office. 17 trips to the White House, 29 rides on Jeffrey Epstein's plane. And Hillary Clinton had never met Jeffrey Epstein. Are you out of your mind? Maybe she did. Maybe she didn't. Didn't she? Ghislaine Maxwell was invited to her daughter's wedding. Okay? And some of the information that we have, Hillary Clinton was involved at the State Department after Jeffrey Epstein was brought up on charges in Palm Beach. And he copped to going after a minor for prostitution. He copped to that. And she still knew him, and he was still helping them. Please. Come on, man. Okay. Now, you want to see something else? The deposition of Les Wexner. Les Wexner is and was the guy who brought you the Victoria's Secret, the limited stores, high fashion, low fashion, and all kinds of Bath and Body Works. For a very, very long time, this guy had a license to print money, not because it was like a Hillary Clinton thing, but it was like I worked my ass off and I got these stores and I got this huge confab, a huge holding of all of these stores, and I'm making a gazillion dollars. Okay? And he is a person who loves the Jewish people, as did Jeffrey Epstein. I guess anyway, he had relations. Here's the thing. Speculation. I'm going to start out with the speculation. Speculation is that Jeffrey Epstein was the financier for the weapons industry, offline, black book, black bag stuff. You have to have a financier. They used to have the BCCI Bank, and then that went TU in the 80s. Was it late 80s or early 90s? I forget. I just remember being in Hong Kong one time when this whole story about BCCI was blowing up. And, that was like Khashoggi's bank and all sorts of things. Well, anyway, so this is all blowing up. And I remember being there, and my husband had some business there, and I got to go. It was very interesting. So we're in the back of this unbelievable, it's like a Bentley, but it's something else. It's like in that family of vehicles. So it was just really nice. Got a chauffeur. I have no idea how this all happened. My husband was not that big a baller, okay? So they, and I see BCCI Bank in Hong Kong. And I just started laughing because I'm the news gal, right? And so I thought, BCCI? I can't believe they're still in business at the moment. Well, they were in Hong Kong. Before the Chi-Coms took over. Thanks a lot, UK. Great job. Anyway, another ruined country. Be that as it may. Thank you, Rod. I appreciate that. Rod writes, thank you for the Victoria Taft Show. The adult in the room keeps sharing the truth. Thank you so much, Rod. I appreciate it very much. And please share the live stream while you're watching. I'll by all means share that on Facebook and Twitter and X, which is now known. And let's see what else. Where else are Rumble, of course, YouTube, of course, and so much more. So I appreciate it. All right. So back to Les Wexner. So he not that anyone asked him at his deposition, because they keep sending the doggone amateurs over there to do depots when they need some guy or gal who is honed in on the case and can ask decent questions. You know, the best time they do stuff, the best job they do, for example, when they have large house hearings, the best job they do is they defer to the attorney to ask the good questions, and that usually results in good answers to questions that they want. Instead, what do you get? Really poorly constructed questions. I give you Jasmine Crockett talking to Les Wexner. Let's see, I gotta find it. I'm gonna make sure. Here's Les Wexner. I love this picture. I got this I got a screenshot of it. Man, not me, man. Whoa! I don't know. Oh, man. All right. Here's Jasmine Crockett ostensibly asking Les Wexner, Jeffrey Epstein's business partner, or shall I better say it, financier who oversaw his finances until 2007 when they found out that he'd been ripping him off. That's his story, okay? Jeffrey Epstein had durable power of attorney over Les Wexner's funds, okay? And so but Les Wexner, married to, as we found out during the deposition, his wife, who is an M&A attorney, which is mergers and acquisitions, so she's no dummy. So, but he has no idea. I don't know. Here, I'll give you the short one. Who knew? I didn't know anything going on. I didn't know Jeffrey Epstein was looking into taking my money.
$20 million of stock and cash were contributed by two of your charitable foundations to one of Epstein's charities. Do you have any knowledge or awareness of that?
Effing shocked. I just...
This is a shocked face.
I never heard that. Did you know that? No. Except so.
Thank you, Mr. Director. We have some additional questions, and we have some questions from some of the members here. I'll start.
There it is. Well, did you know that? I had no idea what that was going on there. Okay, whoever asked that question, thank you. Good job. Whoever that was. Because they went over a lot of the money. We'll go do that after this, because Jasmine Crockett, of course, asked the obvious question. Hey, man. Oh, my video is frozen? Oh, okay, good. But it's over. It's good now? Goodbye, Rod. Appreciate you sticking around. Any other comments? Nice ones, please. I mean, you don't have to lie, but just, can we just stop with the crazy stuff? I get more lefties in here, and I definitely want to appeal to people who are willing to listen to somebody who doesn't agree with them about these facts that are non-negotiable. And, hey, here's another way to look at that, okay? And so I think there's some latency in our feed today. And I have a new Cat 6 Dealy Bob, so I don't know what the heck's going on. We'll have to figure it out. But anyway, if you've got any issues with the latency, or if things are breaking up for you, would you just let me know in the comment section? Because, we're having trouble on the X, and that sort of thing. Okay, so over to Jasmine Crockett, who sort of inartfully constructs these dumb questions. But, of course, everybody's going to replay them because it's about Donald Trump. And unfortunately for Jasmine Crockett, she didn't get the answer she wanted.
Epstein and Donald Trump.
Together?
Yes.
want to answer this question accurately. I would go to some of the Victoria's Secret fashion shows because it's very important to the brand. At some of the fashion shows, Jeffrey was there and some Trump was there. And I remember because Trump would always introduce himself to me. And I always thought it was kind of odd that he was at the fashion show because he had nothing to do with fashion. So the coincidence of them being together at an event, it could have been that, but I have no specific recollection. They never had a social or like a drink or a cup of coffee, something, that would put them together.
Okay, so just to clarify, because I want to make sure we're clear on the record, you're saying that you can recall instances potentially where Epstein and Trump were together and you were in their presence, or just a random scenario where Epstein may be there, Trump may be there separately, and then you would.
It would be at random. That would be accurate. If it happened, but I have no specific recollection.
Okay. Did you ever see or become aware of President Trump having a sexual relationship with a person who was introduced to him by Epstein or Maxwell?
No.
Has Donald Trump ever discussed Jeffrey Epstein with you?
Nope.
No!
Did Jeffrey Epstein ever discuss Donald Trump with you?
Let's listen to this one.
I would describe it, he would name drop it. So he would say things like, I know President Clinton, or I know the Pope, or I know God, or, or I know you. There was that kind of name dropping, but never, I can't remember a specific place, but Jeffrey dropped a lot of names.
Okay. So to clarify, you believe he's specifically dropped Donald Trump's name?
No, I'm saying it could have, and I don't remember.
Okay.
Oh, that was not the answer
Did
she
Epstein
wanted.
ever share any information with you about Donald Trump's sexual activities?
No,
Do you have a relationship with Donald Trump?
no,
But you've met him before.
he introduced himself to me at the fashion show a couple of times, but I wouldn't say, hello, how are you? Like you say, met, like we knew each other. We don't know each other. He wouldn't. I'd be shocked if he remembered me.
Okay.
Oh,
And,
please.
I know that you specifically mentioned the island, that you have been to Jeffrey's Island. Do you recall seeing any of those persons that Jeffrey Epstein would name drop while you were on his island?
No, nobody was there but Abigail, myself, Jeffrey. Maybe I somebody cutting grass or something. There's a maintenance person, I think. I don't specifically recall. I know for sure I was there. Abigail was there. Jeffrey was there.
And there wasn't anything abnormal about the appearance of the home on the island, and the reason that I asked, just to give you clarification on what I mean by abnormal, we've heard reports of people being thrown off when they walked into his home in New York because there was a massage table that was just sitting randomly in the middle of a room. Did you see anything like that when you visited any property that belonged to Jeffrey Epstein?
Well, first to clarify, when we visited the island, there was like a Pueblo building, like maybe a one room and a bathroom or something. It was pretty crummy. And the island was crummy. There were no trees, there was no sand, there was no beach. It was just, it's a kind of a peculiar thing. It was an island, but it was like a pile of rocks. It was just, I was kind of shocked that that anybody would buy it for any purpose. As far as seeing things, I never was in the house. I never at his house in New York. The house in Florida, we were there after he bought it, because I mentioned with the couple, so I never saw a massage table or anything.
Okay. So that was probably the most salacious thing out of it. There might be a few others, but if you look up Trump, he was mentioned multiple times. Democrats desperately trying to get something on Trump because that's what this whole thing is about. Because, there's in fact, I'm going to find it. There's an old CNN clip. I think Mays Moore got this. And this is how CNN used to report on, let's see, wait a minute. Used to report on Jeffrey Epstein. Oh, crap. Where is it? STOU, da-da-da. Trump. Nope. Darn it. I'll find it. I've got it somewhere. Anyway, CNN, of course, there's no list. There's no this. Of course, there is no list. We already said that. There's no list per se. There was a manifest of all the people that they can remember. The pilots had to make a list of the people, the souls on board. And so there's a variety of people, Reid Hoffman among them, who rode on his private jet and went to the island. And for any number of reasons, it doesn't mean it was nefarious, and it doesn't mean it had anything to do with children, and it doesn't mean it had anything to do with anything untoward, that kind of thing. So, but the guy was doing some pretty kinky things in his. Well, here, there you go. There's Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton's a friend of Jeffrey Epstein. Bill Clinton, this is the blue dress that Bill Clinton is dressed up in that Jeffrey Epstein apparently, he bought this painting or he commissioned this painting, one of the two. And this has a blue dress of Monica Lewinsky's blue dress. When we found out that she'd been servicing the president in the Oval Office, of course. And so Jeffrey Epstein had that in his house in New York. So here's Les Wexner's. I never went to that house. I went to Island. He just purchased it, probably with Les Wexner's money. And but I wasn't there. They had no trees. It was a pile of rocks. It was just, it was embarrassing is what it was. He was all excited about his island, and it was a really big embarrassment. Okay. So let's see, one more thing. Oh, God, I might have to play another it's going to be a long cut, okay? But I want you to know that I didn't, dink around with this. Here we go.
For people to understand you don't know this, maybe you don't know the specific details.
These were some good questions amid all of this. I care about the females and of course we all care about the women who were caught up in this, but it was just like, just ask the questions, okay?
Maybe you don't know the dollar amounts, but Epstein was able to be empowered and enabled to hurt more people with your money. You understand that?
Oh, yeah, he's a crook.
I know, but you don't know the purpose of the payment, and the money's coming from you. It's your money. And you don't know why he's paying a doctor at Ohio State University.
Sadly, I don't.
Did you introduce him to Dr. Landon?
No.
How did he meet Dr. Landon?
I wouldn't know that he met him.
Because he's Abigail.
Great answer.
Your wife received services from Dr. Michael Landon.
Yes, and so did my daughter.
Okay. So was it a routine practice for the New York State strategy group's expenses to be paid by your accounts?
I never heard of it.
It's weird because it's your money going in to pay for this consulting services of another company.
It's weird to me, too.
So Dr. Landon never talked to you about these
Never.
quarterly payments?
Never.
Something else that comes up, because one of the claims that you're saying is you're not close friends and everything, but some of us have access to the redacted emails. Some of us already, I think majority of us have gone down there. There is constant claims from survivors. Again, they're redacted from some of the communication directly with Maxwell or directly with other women that were helping Epstein. And your name comes up synonymously sometimes with Epstein. Did you know that?
Well, I know it now.
Well, they also said that you were lovers.
Just,
I know it's nothing to be ashamed.
does anybody believe this guy? I mean, I saw somebody do a highlight reel after this was released last week or whatever it was, and I thought, oh, okay, he looks shocked that all this stuff happened, and then the more you watch it, so I'm going through, slugging through it, blah 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 blah, and I mean, dude's a lion. And I think that's my personal opinion, and I can have one.
I just want you to know.
It's so great.
No, it's nothing to be ashamed of. But it would explain, I think, the closeness that everyone consistently says no.
Okay, you've got to hear this question because she just asked him if he and Jeffrey Epstein were lovers.
Explain, I think, the closeness that everyone consistently. I know it's nothing to be ashamed of. I just want with Epstein. Did you know that?
Well, I know it now.
Well, they also said that you were lovers. And I know it's nothing to be ashamed of. I just want you to know.
It's so great.
No, it's nothing to be ashamed of.
Oh, it's nothing.
But it would explain.
Oh,
I think,
shut up.
The closeness that everyone consistently says. No one ever says you're not close. Is that like everyone says that you had a close relationship, that you and Epstein were close friends. Did you know that?
Objection, hearsay.
Okay. I think Mr. Wexner.
As we all knew.
Provide us with the name of every registered legal entity, and this is important because if you don't know now, then give us the information. Help us find the people that hurt the girls with your money. I'm asking and urging you to, please. You started your business with your Aunt Ida's money. You don't want your legacy to be not just Epstein, but Dr. What is the guy's other's name? Dr. Richard Strauss? It's Richard Strauss, who also well, it doesn't matter. You were chair of the Ohio State University. You were the board chair at the time that he hurt other women, athletes on campus. This is to say to you, it's not only one person that hurt women, but now two that are affiliated with you directly. And I just want to urge you that if you don't know the answers to this, follow up with our committee, give us the information so we can find out who hurt the women and who benefited from it. So could you provide us with the name of every registered legal entity of which you were the beneficial owner between the start of your relationship with Mr. Epstein and his death?
Good question.
But
Can you provide that to the committee, sir?
I would provide you with everything and anything I could to nail that
Please
son
provide
of a
the
bitch.
entities' names, where they were registered, and the date of registration, and the names of whoever acted as the agent of those entities.
Can I request that you just put that request in writing and direct it to me,
I'll make sure.
and we'll take it and
And
respond
it's
to it.
important because Mr. Wexner, so you
And will
know,
Hillary
the
Clinton
women
it.
survivors told us to follow the money consistently. The other question, and this will be my last.
Thank God.
You claim that you have been a victim and defrauded by Epstein, correct?
Correct.
Then why didn't you file charges, go after him? He used money to hurt girls.
She means to say, why didn't you sue him? You didn't file charges. I just have to breathe. Okay, we're back.
And probably young men. Why didn't you do anything to recoup your name, which has
Assuming facts not in evidence, how many men have been involved in the Epstein thing? I saw one guy sitting in the room when the NBC a post congressional hearing interview with Pam Bondi, and so the NBC thing, and I see one guy. I don't even know who that dude is. Is that a guy? Is he a victim? If you know he's a victim, let me know.
been synonymous with Epstein. Do you know your name comes up in the emails among victims who never met you, but your name was used consistently?
Is this a
I'm not sure I
deposition?
understand what the question to
The
him is.
question is, why didn't you file any charges against Epstein if you conned you of $200 million that we know of? Why didn't you go after him?
Well, at the time, I didn't know.
When you
And
found out, why didn't you go after him? Is it because he was a good friend?
no,
Let him answer.
You had
my dad is probably laughing. You know,
No,
one of the
I
thing,
know.
one of the, no, one of the things my dad told me that you don't get a pissing contest with an elephant. And running a public company for a long time, I'm not good at public relations or financial public relations.
What?
And so I would answer questions to analysts. I'd call people up and I'd tell them the truth. And what I learned in the course of my business career is whether it was my chief of staff, the company lawyer, personal lawyers, what should I do? And the advice is, let us handle it. You don't want to get ahead of this. So I'm happy that today is happening
Good.
because I want to help and I would do everything I can to nail that son of a bitch. And
Because
I
they might be hurting.
Please let
more.
him, please let him finish.
and I can't tell you how much I value my own ethics, my own moral compass, that it has a true north. And what I think happened, now knowing about all the cons, is that Jeffrey would tell somebody that they were me or this was somebody else. Like, you and I've never met, right? I don't recognize you, but you're a congresswoman. I think, because.
Yeah, I never met you, but you're all over the emails.
Yeah, but so I presume you're a congresswoman, and I presume you're not a man in women's clothing. But I don't know what I didn't know, and
I understand.
this is,
You know now, we can do something about it.
oh yeah,
So Wexner claims, you claim that you cut ties with Epstein in '07, right? Okay. But you emailed Epstein, quote, Abigail told me the response, all I can say is I feel sorry. You violated your own #1 rule. Always be careful, end of quote. That was an email in 2008, Mr. Wexner. I know, I'm letting you know that the public knows.
probably I was giving him the finger.
Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Mr. Wexner, who?
Okay, so we have, this is why it's just get somebody who knows how to ask questions. She did okay. And I thought that, hey, let's get some information out of him. What are all these business entities that you were set up at the time that Jeffrey Epstein had a control over your durable power of attorney over all of these companies that were owned by Les Wexner in the limited brand and whatever holding company he keeps all that stuff under. Okay. Let us just say here that I was not particularly impressed by this deposition. I'm not that I've sat in a couple of. I've been a defendant in a car accident where I spent. This was a 6-hour deposition, and I only had to spend like 2 hours on a deposition. That was, and I was at fault. So, it was one of those. I rear-ended the person, and there was something weird going on right next to me. On the side of the road, and I just went flash, and the woman had just slammed her brakes on. I couldn't avoid hitting her. So there you go. What do you go? Like, oh yeah, I hit her. Whoops. Nobody got hurt. Yay. My fault. They sued me, of course. You always do that. They sue everybody. So, because she thought she could get a payday. And there was no payday to be had because there was limited liability for my insurance policy. So there you go. So, okay. So the deposition didn't teach us a lot as much as I would have liked it to have had taught me. One of the things I haven't mentioned about Hillary Clinton and being in the State Department and that sort of thing is that she had every opportunity to figure out what Jeffrey Epstein was up to and had been up to. And she was on she was on what? Was she on Iran-Contra? She was on Watergate. She was, around during the Iran-Contra thing, maybe not on a committee or anything. But so she may have been in the same circles and maybe have heard about Jeffrey Epstein, that sort of thing. The reason I bring it up is because there would have been some visibility for her when she was in the State Department as the Secretary of State. It's possible. And it seems to me that somebody who helped set her and her family up to become millionaires from their Clinton Global Initiative might have had some clarity with respect to who Jeffrey Epstein was, especially since she found out later when she was Secretary of State about what a bad dude this guy was. And you heard zippo from her. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And so 29 times at the island, 29 times in his plane, I should say, 17 times Jeffrey Epstein came to the White House when her husband was the president of the United States. She had an office in the West Wing. Okay. Now, you can understand why sometimes things just sort of get away. You all of a sudden you think, oh, well, Jeff Epstein did this. And he was a weird dude. And the next time we do another update, we'll do more Silicon Valley connections. And we'll also do the ranch that he had, the Zorro Ranch in New Mexico, wherein he was trying to proliferate the planet with all of his children or something, which is, I believe, one of the reasons why he wanted the OBGYN from Ohio State University, on whose board was Les Wexner. That's why they asked him about it. And my thinking is that there might be a connection there. So I'm sure there is. So that's what we know about the Les Wexner deal. But the one thing that nobody asked was, okay, so what was he doing with your money? You had him overseeing everything. Of course, I don't know. I had no idea. Sergeant Schultzing it through that. And then his wife ends up finding out, look, he's under investigation, and finds out that he's been stealing money from us. I mean, hello, Shazam, he's been stealing money. Okay, but through it all, there's been a question, a lingering question, and it is, okay, how many actual victims of Jeffrey Epstein are there? And I just happened to have looked that up today and did my best anyway to figure it out. Now, we started out, currently, I'll start there. Currently, thousands is what we're told. Thousands. Because that's what they're telling us, but we have no way to verify it. There's no way to verify it. And what we do know is how many people have had their hand in the trough when the money started pouring in, when people got to lawyering up and suing banks for allowing Jeffrey Epstein, the nefarious bad man, under the, know your customer rules. Remember how they did all the J6s and they cut them off? J6ers by Bank of America. Yeah, you were actually in proximity of one of our bank machines with your phone during January 6th. And by the way, we're going to cut you off. And they did that with regularity. I've never fired that bank. I should. But nevertheless, so they did a lawsuit against Chase, got millions out of Chase, did a lawsuit against Jeffrey Epstein's estate. And so in all, so far, this is not Virginia Giuffre's thing against Andrew, wherein she probably got about $14 million. In all, $400 million have been collected to give to the victims. So how many victims are there? Well, the Epstein Estate Compensation Fund received 220 applications and 150 claimants were approved. So 150 people for that one. Then around it started out from the Palm Beach case, they think it was 3 dozen girls. So we've gone from 3 dozen girls to 150 to 200 to now, well, we think it's over 1,000. And I think it's because people are people. Human character is what it is. When somebody sees that and we're not talking about really great people here, okay? Victims, they don't have to be perfect people. They don't. And it's okay. But we have to know what we're dealing with. And if you've got a freebie at the trough, you're going to go for it, right? So, okay. That's what happens. And let's go over a couple of the people who have alleged things against famous people and have been absolutely wrong. Okay? Here's one. Here's Ro Khanna, who is, as one of my colleagues put it, a 3-time loser on this issue of, him and Thomas Massey, both House members. Ro Khanna, who brought you the billionaire tax in the state of California, which has chased away $1 trillion of capital out of the state because of his idiocy. And it turns out he's not as smart as everybody thought he was. Because here he is giving a platform to a woman who I'm sure she's a victim of some sort, certainly. But she was a procurer of Epstein victims. She actually went out and got some of her friends who she brought to Epstein, and he had them give him a massage. That's how this whole thing worked. With a happy ending, I'm sure. So here's Ro Khanna before the State of the Union address this week, and he has platformed this woman.
Ro Khanna, I'm so honored to have Haley Robson as my State of the Union guest tonight. Haley is a survivor and a mother. She was sexually abused at the age of 16 and 17 by Jeffrey Epstein. It was horrific. And I'm so offended that today people are attacking her, even though she went through some of the most horrific things imaginable for any human being. You know what I think? Instead of attacking survivors, how about we start holding the perpetrators accountable?
Dude is dead. Okay, so Ro Khanna is going to ride that horse. I don't blame him. When he's down on the table, he's got no facts in the law. He doesn't have any of that, so he's pounding the table. He's going to say, "Okay, Haley Robson, you're going to be my guest at this event, the SOTU," and so fine. But she has changed her story a multitudinous amount of times. And that's a problem. And it's another reason why she and others want she doesn't name names particularly. She says she was a victim of Epstein and that they made a deal. Here is Maze Moore, God bless him. He's put together this montage of Haley Robson explaining her story and how it has changed over the years. Listen, won't you?
I brought the people that I hung out with.
Did you think you were helping them?
Yeah. When I was 16, I felt like, hey, I made money. Like, do you guys want to make money? On the way to his house, I was groomed and told, lie about your age. Don't tell him you're young. So I had to make up lies about my age and that I was in college. Epstein told me to bring my friends and he would give me $200. At that point, I agreed. At that point, he just said, hey, listen, you don't want to do this, then just bring me your friends and I will pay you for, every friend that you bring to me, you will get compensated for. I can't even understand the mercy he showed me because he's just such a psychopath and a narcissist. But I was now looking back on it in hindsight, I'm so thankful that that's where it ended and that, I wasn't raped. For 2 years, I brought girls for him. I think it totaled 8 to 10 women or girls.
Did he pay you for the recruits? And if so, do you remember how much?
Jeffrey paid me $200 cash every time. He was looking for a massage for $200. And when I entered the side, kitchen door and went upstairs, his assistant brought me upstairs. It was not a massage. It turned into an hour of me being sexually abused by Jeffrey. He just looked up at me and he said, listen, you're going to bring me a friend to come over and massage me or I'm going to sexually assault you. And at that point, I had already been raped. I was terrified. I had no idea what was going on at that point. I just wanted to get out. So I made a decision based off survival mode and agreed to bring a friend.
Yeah. Okay. I know many women who have been sexually abused. Okay. So it happens to women quite often. I was almost raped one time when I was in my home. It's a pretty unusual type of case, but somebody broke into our house and I woke up to a hand over my mouth. And I can remember thinking at that very moment, it would be better for him to kill me than to rape me. Because when I realized that what he was going to do, I went, holy crap, this is over. I got to fight. So I knocked him. I just balled my fist and because he told me to get on my knees, right? There's a towel. and I punched him in the nads, and he ran out of the house, and I let loose a scream. Thank God my mom and dad were there and could come and rescue me. And so, look, so I know people who've been raped. I know people who have made really, really stupid decisions in their teenage years. I mean, God, it's just so easy to do that when you're, young and dumb. I get it. I do wonder about the ongoing change in the story. Is that just this Haley Robson person, her story started changing when the lawsuits started producing victim funds, and she went from procurer of girls to victim. And that doesn't mean I don't believe that she was a victim. I'm just simply telling you that her role in the whole matter was believed by Palm Beach police as one of being a bad criminal actor. Okay, they actually looked at her as a perp and a pimp. And so she's now, of course, all over the place. You'll find her. I've multiple recordings of her talking about now she's a victim and this and that. And so, yeah. All right. Virginia Giuffre. There's another one who's changed her, who, God bless her, she's dead. She's committed suicide and at her home in Australia, and her family believes that her death was not in vain because Prince Andrew Windsor Mountbatten, or is it Mountbatten Windsor, has been, basically booted out of polite society as a result of his being involved with giving British secrets, trade secrets, to Jeffrey Epstein, because everything was a transaction, right? And so he is being investigated now and been, kicked out of polite society for giving this bad actor information. And that's another British official who was in the House of Lords is going to be losing his peerage as a result of that as well. Okay, so serious business going on with respect to that issue. But I will tell you, the one guy who was said to have been named as a bad actor in the Jeffrey Epstein thing, whenever these guys, I will say, this is the reason they don't name names anymore. Listen to this.
I was with Alan Dershowitz multiple times. At least 6 that I can remember. Well, I was trafficked to Alan Dershowitz from Epstein. Epstein made me, essentially forced me to have sex with him.
I was never, ever anywhere near her at any time. She's making the whole thing up. She is a categorical liar. I can prove categorically by documentary and other evidence that I couldn't have been in the places she said I was at the time. They accuse me of the most horrendous crime. I defend myself, and they sue me for defamation, but they made a mistake because now they have to be deposed. I have to be deposed. I am happy to have this out in a court of law. They will be proved, all of them, to be categorically lying and making up this story, and it will be a terrible thing for rape victims. They have put rape victims in a terrible position because when I unequivocally prove that they sat down and made this all up, tragically, it will hurt real rape victims.
Well, a woman who claimed to have been sexually trafficked to attorney Alan Dershowitz now says she may have made a mistake in accusing him.
Virginia Giuffre, she alleged that financier Jeffrey Epstein trafficked her to Mr. Dershowitz between 2000 and 2002. This week, though, she dropped claims against Mr. Dershowitz, saying that she was young at the time that she was trafficked by Epstein in a very stressful and traumatic environment.
She said, I have long believed that I was trafficked by Jeffrey Epstein to Alan Dershowitz. I now recognize I may have made a mistake in identifying Mr. Dershowitz. This litigation has been very stressful and burdensome on me and my family. We believe it is time to bring it to an end and move on with our lives.
Well, I have said from the beginning, I had never heard of this woman. She was a complete and total stranger, and obviously she now admits that.
Why did she name Alan Dershowitz? Alan Dershowitz was one of Jeffrey Epstein's attorneys involved in the, after the Palm Beach case and in the federal case where he got a sweetheart deal for his client, which is what he's getting paid for. And so Alan Dershowitz got him a very sweet deal with Alex Acosta and the federal prosecutors in southern Florida. And somebody somewhere said, oh, well, he must have, was he ever at the island? I'm sure he was. He's on the plane too, probably. I don't remember offhand. There are a lot of people on that plane. But here he is talking about this, and he wrote a book about this, and it was a shot across the bow to anyone who would dare name him. He was coming after them because, you know, when you've been in the business as long as he's been in the business, as Harvard, as a esteemed professor emeritus, at constitutional law professor, the guy who taught most of the guys in the Senate who ever went to Harvard Law, you better know what you're talking about. And Virginia Giuffre got caught not knowing what she was talking about, apparently, because continue to listen.
She may have misidentified me, confused me with someone else. Well, she certainly put me through a hell of an 8 years, making an accusation. The accusation is categorically, totally false. And I want the media, Fox News, I want others to make motions seeking to unseal everything. I have nothing to hide. I want to right here now waive all of my rights to privacy. I want every videotape, every audio tape, every deposition made public so that the whole story comes out.
Okay, fair enough. Your wish is Pam Bondi's command, and I think she's doing as much as she can. All right. Now, it's against this backdrop that I bring to you this information, because now we know that there have been people who have been openly lying about Jeffrey Epstein. Like, yikes. And so that's one of the reasons why I said, well, how many victims do we actually have here? Is this just a, McMartin preschool crazy time where everything's a satanic move? You weren't there, but I was in Southern California at the time reporting, and the McMartin preschool molestation case came up, and it turns out the kids were making everything up because it was just a mind virus that was going around, just like a lot of things these days. So some people think that's what is happening here and happened here. And I think then you get the additional money incentive, and people are willing to shade the truth. How about that? Even people have been victimized, which, as we've seen. Now, here's the difference between the case, the Alan Dershowitz case, Virginia Giuffre, and what they did to Donald Trump. Because, of course, we know Donald Trump, he raped women, right? He raped girls. He raped girls. That's what we're told. And the reason we think that some people, I thought it was nonsense, but whatever. The reason that it's continuing to perpetuate on Reddit and other places, it's because, well, it was uttered by these people. Now, I want you to look at the backdrop of where they're making these comments, and I want you to listen carefully to what they say.
And colluded with the Russians. There's clear evidence on the issue of collusion. Plenty of evidence.
By the way, these montages that I'm using today, all Maze Moore's. I mean, that guy's just a tremendous talent on X. So, thank you, Maze. You're awesome. Love to interview you someday. Okay.
Of collusion or conspiracy. Did say that there is ample evidence, and indeed there is, of collusion of people in the Trump campaign with the Russians.
There's highly disturbing allegations of Donald Trump raping children, of Donald Trump threatening to kill children.
Donald Trump and his campaign colluded with the Russians.
Okay, so none of that is true. And they said it, but they said it because they are protected from defamation lawsuits, libel and slander laws as a result of being members of Congress and saying it in a position when they're using their position as a congressional representative. And I think Ted Lieu's was a news conference at in the halls of Congress. I might be mistaken about that, but maybe I'll find out. There were so many other things to do today that I just didn't do that. All right. So they were able to say that. Now, let me see. Is there any credible reportage of a person who said that Donald Trump, when she was 13? Well, troubled woman with a history of drug use who claimed that she was assaulted by Donald Trump at Jeffrey Epstein's sex party at 13 made it all up. This is a Daily Mail. Believe me, they want it to be true. It's not. And we got this one. All lies. Woman who claims Trump, at 13 made it all up. That happens all the time to Donald Trump. I mean, where people just making stuff up. I mean, Hillary Clinton, Adam Schiff, Ted Lieu made this stuff up, but they could say it in their official position because, not Hillary Clinton, but those are the other two, the congressional reps, because they are protected by the speech and debate clause. And believe you me, there have been times that Donald Trump has wanted to sue Adam Schiff, and I hope he does someday because that guy did grave damage to his Trump's reputation. That all worked together in concert to undermine his presidency, his candidacy. I mean, it's just outrageous. And it seems to me that in a place where we're supposed to be, citizens, where the truth is supposed to mean something, we ought not do that.
Clear evidence on the issue of collusion. Plenty of evidence of collusion or conspiracy. Did say that there is ample evidence, and indeed there is, of collusion of people in the Trump campaign with the Russians.
There's highly disturbing allegations of Donald Trump raping children.
Okay, there are no allegations, actually, except the one from that woman who's now recanted and run off to her ignominy. So that's how stuff like that starts. I wondered about that. Like, how in heaven's name? Where are you getting this stuff? I listen to it and I go, okay, you're no dummy. So I think that I should pay attention to this. And I want to know where this is coming from. And what do we find out? We find out it was a free radical blurb from some nutball. Well, the Jeffrey Epstein files are full of free radical blurbs from nutballs all over the place. There might be a 302 from somebody, and it might be an FBI 302, and then you find out that they're not going to pursue it because the person's a free radical nutball. Okay, they say certain things. There have been many people who've taken pot shots at, and literal and metaphorical shots at Donald Trump, but they're not true. Just because it's in the Epstein files, just because somebody says, well, it's an official document, it doesn't mean it's true. It could be the reason that there aren't more people being rolled up for the Jeffrey Epstein stuff is because there may not be more people to roll up because, there isn't enough there. I'm not saying the guy's innocent. Not me. No way. I am simply telling you that this might not be what it seems to be. The facile answer may not be the right one. Got it? Okay. Woo! I know I have more stuff I have to present today, and I just want to make sure. I apologize to Alex. Alex, if you got to tap out, no problem. No problem. Just do it. All right. Let's see. Hold on. I'm just checking to make sure. Yeah. In fact, in my conversation with myself in prepping the show today, I said to them, what they used to say about Donald Trump and why why they're so confused now. They're confused because people are lying. That's why. And they want to believe it so bad. They want to believe he's a kid diddler so badly. And it ain't true. Trust me. You saw what the Obama administration, you saw what the Biden administration did to harm President Trump. You see what they're continuing to do to President Trump. Trust me. If there was, they've had the Epstein files. James Comey's daughter was the #1 prosecutor in the Ghislaine Maxwell trial. If they had anything on Donald Trump, do you not think she would have also leaked that information, in addition to the fact that she, I believe, in my opinion, leaked that book that they made, the birthday book for his 50th birthday, and Donald Trump was alleged to have made a doodle or something in the book? Okay. That was it? Okay. First of all, he said, no way. I didn't do that. I don't doodle. Fine, whatever. You may not believe it. It is what it is. That was his response. The problem for them is that it would have come out because they did everything. They wanted to put him in prison for the rest of his life. And they were willing. They weren't just willing to do it. They were doing it. They made shit up. They did. Oh, yes, they did. Fani Willis. Do you know what? It looks like Fani Willis in Georgia. You know, she was doing the RICO thing against Donald Trump for having an opinion. And they went after his attorney for having an opinion, a legal theory. And they pierced the lawyer and confidentiality rule between their client and lawyer privilege. Pierce that. All kinds of civil rights that he was denied. Now we find out that Fani Willis got paid $2 million to run that POS of a trial in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm going to look into that. Just the News has that story out just in the last few hours. Okay. Somebody's getting paid. This is just corrupt. The word corrupt doesn't even begin to cover it. The disgust, the look of disgust on my face doesn't even begin to cover my disgust with these people. Yeah, no worries. I got you, Alex. Okay. A couple of things. Let's see. I'm going back to my list. Okay, one more thing I promised. We were going to do a full-on thing on the SAFE Act. I'm going to do that on Tuesday. That's going to be another half an hour. And you know what? I happen to know on good authority that that's not going to fly. I do have one thing, though, that I wanted to make sure you saw today. And I know you've seen some of it because, there we go. Okay, we're going to get a SOTU. It's Trump talking about how the Democrats won't stand. I want you to know how long they did not stand, okay? Listen and watch. I just want you to see this.
So tonight I'm inviting every legislator to join with my administration in reaffirming a fundamental principle. If you agree with this statement, then stand up and show your support. The first duty of the American government is to protect American citizens, not illegal aliens.
That's true. They take an oath. Now listen how I'm just letting it roll. It's probably still going. That's how long it went. It's still going. By the way, it was a long one, but it was a good speech. It really was. It wasn't your typical, remember you're talking about Tuesday? I was like, oh no, it's going to be a grocery list. I hate those speeches. This is actually well done. There's Mark Kelly. It's still going. That's how long. So when you see the news items about this, and they cut off the cheering, the Democrats sat down for that whole thing. And here's what Trump said.
Isn't that a shame? You should be ashamed of yourself not standing up. You should be ashamed of yourself.
Whenever somebody takes the oath of office, they take the oath of office to protect the American people, foreign and domestic. The first rule, the first thing that an elected official does, and the first thing that any level of government requires of its workers, employees, any number of jobs, elected officials even, is that their first job is to protect their people. That's the first job. It's not even a question. So all those people sat down and said, well, we're not going to play Trump's games. We're not going to stand up for the American people. You know who else they weren't able to stand up in front of? Check this out. Look at this dude. This badass. This is Eric. Oh, God, what's Eric's last name? It's such a... Oh, hold on here. I want to make sure I say it properly. Yeah. What did I do with that information? I'll look it up. I'll look it up on my phone. This man was one of the 160th Night Stalker helo pilots that went in to Venezuela in Operation Midnight Hammer. And dude was the first one in, taking the Delta Force guys into the country. He took machine gun fire, and machine gun fire, he got his legs just shredded, okay? And he was standing with difficulty. His wife was standing next to him. I can't even imagine what they're going through as a couple. And he was given the Medal of Honor. His wife, I believe, knew what was going on. And let's see, hold on. 160th Night Stalker. I just want to make sure. I had a story ready to go, so I apologize. It's just not in this one. Oh, well. So the guy almost died. He was under fire. You know how vulnerable the pilots are in these helos. It was a Chinook. So, they could have, thank God they didn't bomb the thing with an RPG or something, but they shot him up good. And the Democrats wouldn't even stand up for him. He could barely stand himself, and they didn't stand up for him. Now, I'm sorry. You may think you may not like that he's being used as a political pawn, maybe. I don't like that Trump. He's being used as this guy's being used as a political pawn. Here's what Buzz Patterson says. He's quite a presence on X. The young Army pilot who led the Maduro raid and whose legs were sliced up by enemy fire struggled to stand with the use of crutches. Democrats didn't bother to stand at all. I've never been so pissed in my life. And Eric, here we go. Eric Slover. Good news, though. This person indicates that they did stand when he received the Medal of Honor. Well, you know what? Too late, bub. Too late. All right. One more thing I know.
Tonight I'm inviting every legislator
Oh,
to
yeah, no,
join
sorry.
with my
Goodbye. Yeah. One more thing. I said I would bring to you the Crazy Town thing. You know, one of the things that Donald Trump said in his State of the Union address the other day was the fact that you people are crazy, which of course they were and continue to be. You know, it's like, I cannot believe John Fetterman is the guy with the best right mind in that bunch of slackers. I cannot believe that. Can you believe that? Ay. So, that's amazing. So he's standing up for everything. Hey, we did all right. Good for us in getting rid of Maduro. Blah and blah and blah and blah. Well, one last thing. As I told you on Tuesday, the Democrats are and did hold a special party. And the best, was sort of the alternative SOTU. And one of the persons involved was Maxine, Dexter. And Maxine Dexter is a very sad individual. It sounds like something Donald Trump would have. No, it's a very sad. Well, she is. You guys went from Earl Blumenauer for 30 years to this Nimrod? No, I'm sorry. That's an injustice to Nimrod. She's an idiot. How in heaven's name are you guys doing that? Hiring this dipstick. Okay. Here she is because she's... Anyway, here she is with the Portland Frogs.
I'm a physician, and I have a flag.
Uh-oh. Where'd she go? Oh, is that my bad copy of it? Oh, sorry. Sorry, you guys.
And I am the proud representative for Oregon's 3rd Congressional District. Yes, thank you.
Idiots.
And tonight, I defy Trump and his authoritarian project by standing in joyful, radical, peaceful resistance with the Portland Frog Brigade.
Woo! And I want to say that she said the Portland Prague Brigade, right? Because it kind of sounds like that's what she said. And why not? There's a reason that I'm bringing this to you. This is just so ridiculous. And, interesting. So the Portland Frog, she talks about she comes in peace and all this other stuff. Well, the guy who started the guys wearing the frog costumes, and remember when frog costumes were supposedly racist? Remember that? Pepe the Frog? You remember all those, the alt-right, Pepe the Frog, they're racist, they're terrible, they're Hitler, they're terrible. Well, then they dress up like, they steal the idea, whatever. And so, bless their heart, they parade these out, and so Ron Wyden did the same thing, and he went in front of the Portland Prague brigade, whatever. Here's the point. The point is she's an idiot, and of course she is. And she's not just an idiot, but she's an idiot of long standing.
I'm a physician.
Oh, here's the good one. I see. Here we go. Wow, whatever. Here she is.
For the science-based regimen.
She's a doctor. She would like you to know she's a doctor. Okay. And she doesn't like Robert F. Kennedy because he's in charge of the HHS. Of course, the guy in charge of Biden's HHS was how do I say it nicely? He was a hack, a Democrat hack from California. But the only person you ever saw was that guy dressed as a lady, okay? The dude. Yeah, that's who you saw as the public face of it. But it was really the guy who wants to be governor of California, Becerra, who's running the department. Okay, so, yeah, okay. Now that talking point is dispensed with, here she is, Maxine Dexter.
Please ask for the science-based regimens, not whatever RFK Jr. is getting kickbacks on, or whatever whole milk, white supremacy, dog whistling that's happening right now. I'm getting a little too political, but
I don't think she can stop that. She called the milk recommendation that people drink whole milk. We've been doing it. My kids are doing it. I mean, my kids have been doing it with their kids for years, or like the last couple of years, because there's less crap in the milk. Okay, that's it. There's all, and you want to get the whatever, organic or whatever. I just got an organic half gallon of milk. It's not a white supremacist thing. It makes sense because it's probably better thing. But, to someone who looks at everything from the prism of politics, and I do that a lot myself, but this is dumb, okay? She is dumb. And it's a racist. Whole milk of any kind, is actually a racist situation. Yeah. Okay. Maxine Dexter. Right. That's the last time. I think that 2014 was the last time they did the Got Milk ad. And that was Serena and Venus Williams. And they're not white supremacists the last time I checked. So homegirl has lost her mind. And that's that. All right, I'll see you next time on the Adult in the Room podcast. I've got lots, and now we're going to do the SAVE Act on Tuesday. It's going to take a while to break it down. So much misinformation about that. I've gotten some comments today. I've learned so much about the whole Epstein thing from you today, Victoria. And believe me, it is a straight up learning curve for me too. It's not like I have paid a lot of attention to all of this for all these years. But now, because I think that there's a political point that is trying to be made, I think the more you are educated about it, the better off you're going to be, and you'll be able to distill the essence of truth from the crapola. All right, so, I feel like we just started, but it's like Trump's speech on Tuesday night. It's like, I knew he needed, I didn't realize it would have been 2 hours. We were doing a live blog over at PJ Media, and I was like, wow. I wanted him to land the plane, and you know what? He landed the plane when I wanted him to, but it had been almost 2 hours. Usually, that guy, he calls it the weave. Okay, fine. People love it. Okay, I'm okay with it. This time, he stuck to the script almost exclusively, and it paid him dividends. And the political fallout from that, and the way the Democrats comported themselves during this speech on Tuesday night, absolute devastation for them. Absolute devastation. Okay, all right. I'll see you on Tuesday for the Victoria Taft live stream. And watch for our videos. Please subscribe. Please hit the notifications button. Please send money. I should do that. I should just do that. Send money! We'll see you back here next time. Okay, have a great weekend. Thank you so much for watching and listening to this episode of the Adult in the Room podcast. We do not take you for granted. We appreciate every single person who tunes in every week to listen and watch this program. We're here every Tuesday and Thursday, live streaming on Rumble, and then on every other podcast platform shortly thereafter, when we can port it over and get it over there as soon as we can. All the shows can be found at victoriataft.com, where the censorship regime has been banned by me. Follow me on social media at these names: Victoria Taft, the Adult in the Room podcast, and the Victoria Taft Show. Send media inquiries, or any others for that matter, to victoria@victoriataft.com. And here's a big ask. Would you please subscribe, share, like, comment, recommend, and give this program a 5-star rating where you can? We really appreciate it. We do not take that for granted either. Follow my work at, you guessed it, victoriataft.com. PJ Media, I write tons over there. Flamingo Audiobooks, and of course the radio. I don't do this alone. This show is produced and engineered by Overall Media. 1A Cast is responsible for some of the Adult in the Room podcast's imaging. Logo design by Hageman Creative. The Adult in the Room podcast is produced at Flamingo Road Studios. All rights reserved.